Okay, so I'm in the back streets of Greece now, in Athens, and this is day 3, and we're going to be doing offer creation. Offer creation is about us finding our values as filmmakers. It's about not selling bricks, but about selling bridges. So I'm really excited about this one, particularly tomorrow's how we package it. That's going to really matter, okay? So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Let's head over to the computer. Okay, welcome to day 3. Here we are in day 3, and we are literally going to be building out the offer. So it's about building out my offer of 50K offer. So those of you who are following on, please make sure that you watch day 2 for the research. The hardest, biggest decision is making and getting to that niche. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about that. I'm going to keep referencing back to that, but go watch video 2 if you're not got your niche down. You've got to get that niche down, because this is how we're going to get specific problem, specific solution, and to a specific person, right? So this is baseline of how I'm going to start to build out an offer. Now, tomorrow, what we're going to talk about is pricing it, packaging it, how to package it all up so it all makes sense, and how to somewhat deliver that into a nice package that your client can feel the value, okay? So let's go through this document. This is me sort of documenting what I'm doing. I'll do bits and pieces with you. Hopefully this will make a lot of sense. You'll get a lot out of this video. So I would sit down, get a notepad, write this down, and do anything that I'm sort of suggesting here. Go through the exercise, and you'll start to see how this will start to make sense. Like, the biggest person you've got to sell to is yourself. You've got to believe that this is valuable, right? Nothing else sells better than your belief system in yourself. Now, in the early stages, you're not going to have a lot of proof and evidence to yourself, but as soon as you know that you have got a great offer, a lot of magical things start to happen. The way you look, the way you walk, the way you move, the way you feel in a sales environment. You are no longer selling. You are offering up gold, and you're offering up a value, and you know it's valuable because it's working and everything's cool. So really pay attention to this, because a good offer can do 50% of all the heavy lifting for you, okay? So I'm going to go through this document, and we really need to focus now, okay? Tell the kids to chill, tell the wifey to go away, or tell the husband to chill, whatever it is, whoever's watching this, you need to spend time on this, because I've seen people's lives transform when you have a good offer. As I said, it will do 50% of the heavy lifting across marketing, sales, and everything else in between. A really good offer does a heavy talking, and it's about showing it and not having to sell it. You don't have to be nickel slick when you have a good offer. You come from a place of knowingness, right? And that is powerful. So that's what I want to talk about today. Okay, so let's break down some of this logical stuff that we all struggle with. Again, this is a dirty, quick, raw video over a Google Doc with a few spreadsheets and a few this and that and other. But the stuff I'm saying is very, very important. Okay, so filmmakers fail because they're selling bricks instead of bridges. This is day 3 of my 30-day filmmaker challenge. Today, I'm showing you the process I use to design premium filmmaking offers that turn me from videographer for hire into a strategic storyteller who drives results. And we're going to be talking a lot about this stuff. This here. This is arguably the key. Okay. All right. So recap from yesterday, again, super important, the foundation of why you must niche to scale, specific person, specific problem, specific solution, a simple process to find your perfect profitable niche. We talked about how I narrowed down to consultants, coaches, and educators, using AI to speed up the market research and validate demand, right? We're going to be talking about this, and again, we're going to be using this in the offer creation stage. So this is why video 2 is really important. So go back and watch that if you haven't watched it. My final no-brainer offer statement, and this is subject to change because I'm not that happy with it. Okay. I've been racking my brain around this. I just don't think it's enough. I'm not happy with it at all, but it's good enough for now. I help high impact coaches escape the commodity trap and scale their influence. Now, I want to talk about the problem with offer. I've already mentioned a lot, but I'm going to just hit every point. So inside you understand why this is a major problem, right? Their offer is weak. Most filmmakers show up with a price sheet, not a value proposition. Without a strong offer, clients see you as an interchangeable with every other videographer pitching the same one video for X amount of dollars. We need to differentiate ourselves, okay? We also need to get out of the commodity trap. It's very, very easy to say, I have a day rate card, or a half day, or an hourly shoot. That is very easy, okay? But the problem with something that's easy is that anyone and everyone can do it. They can turn on a camera, use a camera. There's a lot more that these brands actually need, okay? Number two, they sell one-off video clients don't know how to use. They sell one-off video clients don't know how to use. A video on its own rarely drives results. When clients don't have a plan for how to leverage it, the work sits on a hard drive collecting dust, and you get blamed for it and the lack of ROI. Now, I used to do this a lot. I used to make a really, really epic film and then just give it to them. Okay, they didn't distribute it. They didn't warm their prospects up with it. They didn't warm their current clients up with it. They didn't warm any. There was no retention, nothing. And it was just like they post it, and then their friends see it, and some of their clients that are close to them see it. But that was it. There was no pre-launch. There was no nothing. Right. Number three, they pitch deliveries instead of transformations. I'm gonna talk a lot about this, about the bricks and the bridges scenario. For those of you that don't understand what I mean by it, like you build a bridge, you can sell a brick or you can sell the full bridge. The bridge from and it's just an acronym that I'm using to say, like, sell solutions, sell transformation, sell impact, sell outcome. And that's the way, if you can start thinking like this, again, like I said yesterday, you will be printing money, okay? Their current creative process is vague and leaves clients guessing when your process isn't crystal clear, and clarity is power. I always say speed is really, really key, and it loves business, but without clarity, you're not really going anywhere. It's just like getting in a car and just pressing the metal down. You could just ram into a tree. You need clarity on where you're going, but so does your client. Clients hesitate to invest. You've got to give them trust. It's very, very important. And trust is the only way to command 20 to 50K retainers, okay? Especially when it comes to like really building out sort of 5, 8, 15,000 per month. If you want to do that and you want to do high level storytelling, then you've really got to give them a crystal clear roadmap of what this looks like from an outcome base, from a process, how you get them there. And they've got to see it themselves. They've got to see themselves in this package. If they see themselves in it, that's the fastest way to connect with them, okay? They're treated like a vendor, not a partner. Vendors get hired, fired, and price shopped. Partners get trusted with strategy, long-term budgets, and repeat business. Saying in vendor land is why most filmmakers cap out at 2 to 5K projects. Okay, so why does it matter? Clients don't actually want a video. They just don't. I mean, obviously they want to look good. They want the high status. They want they want a higher perception of themselves. They want to look good. Obviously, they want conversion and all them other things. And they think they want a video, but there's a lot more other components that they need in order to make what they actually want. But what they really want is attention, authority, leads, and revenue. Revenue being, would be the holy grail. This is definitely the holy grail. Revenue is very important. It's without a doubt very, very, very key. And I would be focusing on that. Even if you haven't got proof, I would be thinking to myself, how can I get them more revenue? They want outcomes, attention, and authority, leads. If your offer doesn't connect directly to those outcomes, you're always going to struggle to charge a premium fee. When you build an offer the right way, you stop being just a filmmaker and you start being the go-to growth partner. And you want to be seen as a visual growth partner, a visual growth storyteller in my eyes. Storytelling is even better. I always like to position myself as their storyteller and being their storytelling partner, because they wasn't just coming to me for visuals. They were coming to me for psychology. They were coming to me for strategy. They were coming to me for conversions. They wasn't never, ever coming to me for a video, okay? The goal isn't to pitch another project. It's to craft an offer that transforms transforms you from a videographer hire to a growth partner that clients can't ignore. So here is the steps that I go through, okay? So first thing I think about is bridge versus bricks. I am trying my best to think, what do they need? And I'm going to give you some examples in a second. So before anything, I make sure I'm not selling a brick. So a brick is a deliverable only, no strategy, no ROI. A bridge end-to-end growth system, and I would probably put the word end-to-end either story growth system is a really good way to position it, or a visual growth system, either. But you want to make them feel like they're getting something that's end-to-end. Okay, this delivers outcomes, not deliverers, focuses on combining creativity with strategy. I always say that the most powerful thing you can do, if you want to boil it down into two things, is creativity meets strategy, right? You bring them two elements together and you have nailed it. You have nailed your offer, okay? Ties back to one of four main outcomes for the client. And this is, I'm going to give you also a sentence statement as well, but this is ultimately the impact and outcome. There's another component to this, which means as least and as little as amount of time and energy on their end, right? So when you give them the impact, if you can give them impact without it being an enormous amount of time and energy and effort on their end, you'll be printing from that point onwards. Everybody will be lining up to want to work with you, okay? I was in Georgia, you know, have you seen it on YouTube where they portrait your thing on a cup? They put your portrait on the cup and you can get your thing on a coffee cup. The wedding is about 2.5 hours to an hour to 2.5 hours. They've got a major issue there. They're not going to sell. As gimmicky as it is, and I know they're doing it for Instagram and doing it for the gram because they get the thing and that's cool, but the amount it costs me to sit there for an hour to wait for it to be in line for the person to go, and then they've got to do the portrait and they've got to figure out a faster way. And I know that art that's not the point. Maybe they need to get more artists in there and have a better system or a sort of some kind of appointment setting system. I don't know what they need to do, but my brain goes to how can I reduce the time, energy, and effort? That's the first thing. So tie it back to 4 outcomes: more time or speed. Let me put that. Or speed. Speed. People love things fast or saving time, right? Especially if you can give them the impact of saving time and give them speed. More money is just as simple as it gets. If you can help a brand generate more money, you are going to be in a good position. More freedom. This is probably ultimately the big thing that everybody's chasing. Is we're all driven. I know that I'm driven by freedom. I'm definitely driven by the fact that I can be free, and increasing status and perceived value. All right. These are the 4 major pillars, but there is arguably one more, which is reducing risk. We must be able to reduce the risk. So if you've got a business that's up and down with sales, you can give them a visual growth system that stops that from happening by helping create demand, by increasing status and demand and speeding up the sales cycle for them, right? By having ads go out, which generates leads, and then that's the awareness component. And then you have the the consideration component would be things like proof, and storytelling, high-level storytelling based on psychology. That kind of consideration is going to help speed up the sale, but it's also going to reduce the risk of them going up and down with their sales. Examples of bridges focus on offer outcomes. So this is like examples of things you can do. Turn your story into a sales system. Good. Replace cold outreach with authority marketing, raising perceived value, shorten the sales cycle, get more time back, video leverage nurture system. This is a big one. Pay attention to that one. Video sales funnel plus paid traffic and CRM. This is a big motherfucker. Concentrate on them ones there. They're very good for if you can embed yourself as a storyteller and get involved in how new inquiries come through, you're going to crack the code. Like you'll literally see a shift in the longevity of your client. If you are the one that is, because the creative is the variable. But creative is the thing that makes people do stuff, right? It's not just traffic. You can punch traffic to a dead page. But if you have soul to that page, if you have a story that is helping people lean in, right? And you are attached to that outcome and they can see the spike, I don't need to say much else. Full evergreen omnipresence. So what do I mean by that? Like setting up their full social media with all the links in the bio, getting all set up. That's the end-to-end solution. That's a big offer. So these are just not bricks. These are obviously bridges. Okay, these are bridge offers. So a brick isn't just a video. It's a bunch of pixels. A brick is just a video. A bunch of pixels and waveforms, no tangible value in isolation. And even worse, the worst thing you can do, and if you want to be in this game for a long time, because you're driven by the story aspect, and I know you guys love the creative, the technical stuff as well. It's very exciting. It's moving. It's powerful to be able to take a flat image and then bring color into it, and then go in and put little bits of sound design in and stuff like that. That's good. But when you just sell that as a creative technician side of stuff, I just think you're just leaving too much on the table, especially if you're devoting yourself to brands and you're devoting yourself to making an agency and building something that's going to be like quite sustainable for your family and that's going to change your family and your life. I think focusing more on the delivery of the emotional side of stuff and the creative and strategy is a way better thing than leaning into technician stuff. And, I always say the word human tripod, and that's my way of trying to get under your skin so that you can you feel like that when you're on set, because I just think you are putting yourself and your family at risk by just offering them services. I think there's more you can be doing, and I think you've got to dig deeper. And this is what we're doing today. So let's keep focused on this. So a bridge is a pathway to transform someone. It's about taking them and going, here, I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to help you get from point A to point B, right? So step 2, the pre-mortem. This is a very powerful thing to do. Most people run post-mortems after something goes wrong. Now, post-mortem is what you're just basically seeing what could go wrong and then what could we do to fix it. It's just a buzzword, but it's almost like a Benjamin Franklin thing of like pros and cons. You'll see it in a second. I'm going to run you through it. So I'll just start again. So most people run a post-mortem after something goes wrong. A pre-mortem flips that. You assume the project has already failed. So you assume that you're a human tripod. You assume that your videos aren't working. And then you go, what went wrong? From there, you uncover a weak spot in your offer, process, or communication before they sink the deal. I have just flown into Athens. I am knackered. But I really wanted to get this out. I was meant to record this last night, but I was on like 2-3 hours sleep, and I'm moving around a lot at the moment. I've got like a lot of things going on. Okay, so this isn't negativity. It's about removing the blind spots and making sure your offer is airtight, because you really want to do that. And again, you're going to have to put them through a flywheel or an insight flywheel to be able to help purify your actual offer. What do I mean by that? It's about taking what's working, collecting that, and discarding what doesn't work. And that will purify your offer. I always put it through a flywheel of purification. It's the best way to do it. And I always did it, like whenever I set up a new offer, I always did a Project 5. Project 5 is literally five deals sold under the same offer. Take all the insights, all the negativity, all the good, all the shit that's working, and then cleanse it. Remove and discard all the shit that everyone said. And if they said it twice, it's absolute must go. There's no question around it. If they say it one time, I look at the other 4 projects to see if that is a real thing or if it's a personal thing, right? So they can change in so many ways. Okay, so making it as unreasonable as possible for you and your clients not to succeed. And that's what a post-mortem is, and that's what we're going to do in just a second. The answer of what could go wrong usually looks something like this. I pitch a video that were bricks, not bridges. My process was unclear, and so brands weren't hesitant to invest. I assumed the client knew what they wanted. I delivered visuals, but there was no views, or they just didn't get what they want, or they just, even worse, they just ghost you and forget about you because you offered them, you charged them too much, but you didn't give them any outcome. And that is the worst thing. But it's not a worse thing if you're doing an insight flywheel. If you're doing an insight flywheel, you are doing well, because you are collecting that, and you are man enough, woman enough to look at, and this is why a lot of people don't ask, because they're too afraid to get the negativity. But the negativity is gold for us, because it allows us to build something that's profitable, something that's more valuable. Again, we're trying to develop gold, that we can sit in a sales environment and just know that we've got the fucking shit. We know we've got it, right? We know what, if you work with us, you're going to 10x what you're investing with us. You're going to 14x invest with us. You're going to 25x on this. Like you are going to do so well. In fact, you want to get it to a point where you have a waiting list, like where you actually have someone waiting to work with you. They're dying to work with you. Again, I was telling you a story, I think in video 2 or 1, there was a guy that was such a good storyteller. I'm not going to mention the name. He was working with a company that was doing 100K. He decided to take them on. He's this good, right? And he took them from 100K to $1 million in sales in 1 month, and then consistently for the next year and something years, months after that. Now, he's that good at what he does that he has got a waiting list for you to jump on. Because literally, like, if he's taking 20%, but yet you were making 100, now you're making 800. You're giving him a 200K, but you're taking the 800K. Like, why wouldn't you do that? But again, he would have took him some insight wheel and some purification to get to that exact point. And that's what I'm trying to get to you guys, is use your insight wheels. Use your documenting what doesn't work so we can discard and bring the stuff that works, okay? So when to use this pre-mortem is before launching or reposting your offer, designing your new packages or pitching, when conversions feel low despite good delivery, in quarterly reviews to tighten up your process. Again, we're using that insight wheel as well, okay? And I may even do a video dedicated just for insights, for collecting insights, and I may do it through this process actually. So how to run your own pre-mortem. Okay, so the first thing you want to sort of look at is scenario build. Pitch a dream project going sideways. Why did it fail? That's a good question to ask yourself. List failure factors: sales, scope, communication, creative vision, budget. Prioritize which are most likely to break under pressure. Very key. Redesign, build in mechanisms, processes, or new workflows that reinforce or remove these pressure points, right? So this is just a simple thing. Now, I'm going to go to this link, and I've already... I'm in a very lucky position because my team's already started like filling this stuff out. But I told them that I think there's more we may be missing. But let's say that we are doing this sort of pre-mortem and we're basically working out everything that could go wrong in a client failed scenario. And what we want to do is we want to sort of see it, and then we want to sort of have a mechanism or a thing that can fix it. So the first one, brand story fails to receive traction. That's a failed scenario. Solution: conduct distribution strategy session with client plus paid media. That would help, especially if you give them like a 90-day sprint on media buying. That would ensure that it gets some traction. Okay, very important. Unclear or poor production process. Brand story methodology. Have a methodology that's going to protect the structure of the story to make sure. Like I use the story wheel, the 8-part story wheel. That's the way I make stuff, and that's more a creativity thing. But again, you want to make sure that has that. Poor understanding of speaker niche, industry trends, and insight research. Inconsistent designs throughout the brand asset. Graphic designer plus creative brief and batch content. Sometimes the thumbnail is a major factor, right? And you've got this great, amazing thing, but you don't bring the designer in to actually do some artwork, because a lot of the video is what goes on around that video that really, really helps elevate the perceived value of the actual before they even press play. Lack of innovation or trend awareness in industry trends and insight research, making sure you do research again before you do. Emphasis on cinematic authentics over substance. Again, going too hard on the visual side of storytelling, that it's not matching up with the actual key message. So again, what we would do there is customer journey mapping. What does your client want to see and hear, and what part do we need to be more substance? And explaining this to the client is giving them an end-to-end. It's like, this is what we're going to do that's going to create the impact of making sure that doesn't happen, okay? Customer journey mapping and sales optimization phase. No emotional connection with the audience, okay? We could do five keywords plus an 8-part story wheel, which creates enhanced depth and emotional connection is real. So you have your own formulas for making stuff that actually pops and connects with people. You would know what that is, and you would need to look into that. No increase in clients' perceived value or status, okay? This would be an omnipresent phase. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the actual research document that we did. And with this research document, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, okay, I'm going to just go to a normal ChatGPT. And what can I help you with? We're on the pro version. Pro version takes a bit too long, I think. Are we on the auto? Think, answer right away. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to sort of like take the research and we want to sort of get, so can you take my research and help me put together the following. I just want you to list this out in bullet points and create me a good. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, if we can, I want all this. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to say, become a world class strategist for my production company that specializes in coaches. I'm building out my offer and I want you to give me a very simple list in the following. I want this to be in bullet points only. I have attached research for your reference. Okay. Spelling shit, I already know. You don't need to tell me. We already agreed that this series would be full of that. Go easy on me, guys. Go easy on me. So I'm literally going to copy paste the whole thing, and I'm just going to have it sort of take that and see what it comes with. Okay, so I'm going to paste that in. Okay, so I'm basically going to the top, and then I'm just going to recheck my prompt. Now, I have a structure for prompts, so it really needs an objective, but I'm just doing it fast for this video. And a lot of the time what I do is actually get it to create a prompt for me before I would run this, okay? So become a world-class strategist for my production company that specializes in coaching. I'm building out my offer, and I want you to give me a very simple list in the following format. I want this to be in bullet points. I have attached research for your reference. I'm not looking for you to build my offer. And guy, whatever you do not do this. Do not just go, build my offer for me. Don't do that. This in itself is saving you tons of time. And I would put this on agent mode as well. Well, I already did, because I've built my offer, which I'm about to go to in a second, and you're going to see what we've built. But at the end of the day, you want to be really, really careful just going, create the thing. You want to do the failed scenarios. It's super important. Whether you use this now, a lot of the time I did this manually based on, again, my body of work. I look at my past mistakes. I collect insights. A lot of you are scared that are watching this, and you specifically watching this probably is not doing it. You've got to collect the negativity so you can discard it and you can add the positive in. I'm not looking for you to build my offer. I'm just looking for I'm looking for the following below. Here is an example of this. And then I'm just going to go dash, space, and I'm just going to give it an exam. And then I'm going to go here. There's traction. And then underneath the solution is boom. And then I would go back to my pre-mortem and I would copy that and I would give them just thing. And then I'm like, fuck it, just go. All right. And I'm only doing this for speed. I would spend at least more 20 minutes on this, on the prompt itself. All right, because you've got to get this intel right. You want to get this shit. You want to get this shit so fucking right. So brand story tales to achieve. Culture suggests struggles to communicate. Abstract services. High value program lacks proof of transformation. The solution is produce client mini stories to an emotional testimony and repurpose them. Do you see how you're starting to get ideas on how you can build stuff in? Content feels inauthentic or over polished. The solution, film behind scenes showing process, personality and transparency to build the trust. The other thing you can always do with that another one, and I think Beyonce did this, she did a full documentary where she kept going to her phone. And I think that's a really human way of doing things. Like you bring the Reds and the Ariel X's out, but then you like incorporate the brand story where there's mobile phone footage. It kind of brings that authentic. And we're getting a bit too much into the weeds there. And this is the thing. When you do a better prompt, you're going to get much clearer, like post-mortem. Failed scenarios, what could and what could go wrong. Okay, so it's very, very clear. So again, I would go through this list. So one-off video, investment doesn't generate long-term environment. That's a bad thing. We've already mentioned it. The solution is offer 90-day media buying, an optimized thing. Cool. Scaling becomes ineffective. Quality slips under the volume. The solution is built templated story system and plus an AI editing for efficiency without long term. Again, that prompt needs to be better to be able to build more value. We're creating gold. We're wrapping value around our offer, but by making sure that we've looked at all the failed scenarios of what could go wrong, because we're in the ideology of selling bridges, not bricks. Okay. So let's go back to the document. Step 2 is, in my opinion, considered somewhat done. Now, the offer roadmap. When you map out, this is step 3. Now, when you map out your offer and craft a creative methodology, you stop selling videos and start selling a predictable results through a proven process. Before start mapping out any video offer, you need an offer that is going to deliver the highest impact with at least, and this is the big statement I want you to, we need to absolutely highlight this. This is so very, very important. You need an offer that is going to deliver the highest impact, time, status, money, reducing risk, freedom, with the least amount of time, effort, and energy from the client's end. To begin working this out, start by answering the following four questions. This is key. Okay, what does the client actually want? Do they want more time? Do they want more? And a lot of them won't tell you through the doctoring process. When we get to the sales process, when we start doctoring people, and we come to people with like as a therapist, this is where they've got to answer this question: what do they actually want? A lot of them say, "I just want a video." They don't want a video. And I'm like, well, why do you want a video? And you always ask 5 whys. Like, why do I want a video? And you keep asking why, until eventually it comes to money. So, what does the client actually want? Why do they want it? When do they want it? And how do they want it delivered? Then you reverse engineer your offer and create a methodology to giving them what they want, tie it to their deepest reason, deliver quickly and clearly, and minimize their effort. Okay? Super key. That's how your offer becomes such a non-brainer that it becomes impossible to say no to. Now, there's obviously other things you can do, like you can go look at Alex Hormozi's stuff, how you can offer stack and you can do all this other shit, but ultimately, your offer just has to deliver, right? I just don't think it's about bulky. I mean, it's always good to put like bonuses and things in there that makes it look all attractive and stuff. But again, you don't want to be just piling stuff up just for the sake of piling stuff up. You actually want something that you just have that knowingness that if you do this one thing with me, I'm going to take you from point A to point B. So what is a strong creative methodology or offer look like? When you've mapped out your offer and built a system, you can promise the outcome your client wants, deliver smoother and faster, back it up with proof, and remove obstacles and reduce client. I mean, this is a dream flywheel once you get this going. This is a dream thing because every time you get a sale, you get them results, you then can show it and show and tell it. You get that attracts another client, then you do it again and again and again and again. And this is how these companies get to $1 million a month, because they've got something that's so repeatable and robust that it just goes on its own. It's like a machine, baby. It's just printing money. Okay, examples of support: onboarding guides, creative briefs or templates, educating resources for less experienced clients, bringing in specialists outside your lane, process that removes guesswork or removes your job, bridge the full gap from client's goal to the final result. That's what you got to look at. And I know a lot of you are old school cinematographers probably looking at this and going, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't get into this to become an agency. Well, you don't have to do all this work. You can do the part you love. As long as you can sell it and you can put it together, there's other people that can do the other part, like media buying. You don't have to do that yourself. And when you have such a bridge for sale, your options go through the roof. You have now the ability to hire talent. You have the ability to hire talent, okay? And to be able to scale that up. Things start to become easier. But again, we can't put the horse before the cart. Like everyone's like, let's build it first. No, we've got to sell it first. So once that's done, now what we're going to do here is we're going to have a quick look at this. I did quickly put on this before, but let's have another look. Okay, so the visual growth system. This is what we've come up with. This is what our offer is. Now, this took me... I did this on the plane. Let me get rid of that. I did this on the plane on the way over to Athens, and I think this is a fairly good offer. Now, will this get tweaked? Yes. Is this coming a lot from hypothesizing? Yes. A lot of guesswork, but also somewhat based on my previous work. Okay, I know they're going to need media buying. I know they're going to need a brand story, and I'll explain it all in a second. So first thing they get when they come in and say yes to this, and we'll get to the pricing tomorrow. We're not talking pricing now. It's going to be about 50 grand for this, but I'll figure out what it could be and what it won't be. So the first pillar is the authority foundation. And this is about a brand story, so your signature cinematic narrative that positions you as the only credible authority. Then we're going to do an impact story, which is like a high-level case study, a client-transforming story that provides undeniable proof of your results. And then I'm going to give them an authority trailer to back that up for both brand story and the thing. So that's the 4 big assets they're going to get: 2 trailers, brand story, and an impact story. So one through the client size, one through the customer size. And this is very baselined on the why, fight, and contribution. For those of you that are inside my program, you would know that we baseline the storyline on why they do what they do, what they're fighting for, and what is their level of contribution. That would be considered in my methodology for brand storytelling. Impact story is a lot like Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero to a Thousand Faces. Their client is on a heroic journey, so you make them look like they're on a mission, right? And your client is the Cinderella, not the Cinderella, but the fairy godmother, helping them, like Pinocchio. And your client is the little cricket that helps Pinocchio along the way become a real boy. And he's becoming a real boy. And that's the kind of focus I do for impact. And then I'm going to give them a trailer, and that's going to be for them to pre-amp it up, run it as ads, etc., etc. So the impact of that is going to elevate your status, shorten your sales cycle, and make you incomparable. Second thing I'm going to give them, just that alone is a lot, but a lot of it's a lot of bricks. It needs more. It just needs more. To give them a bridge, we need to give them more. Pillar 2, demand amplifier. So we need a demand sprint clips, short form omnipresence, is the short form omnipresent assets for IG, YouTube, Shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn to maximize awareness and demand. That's setting them up with their omnipresence. Then behind the scenes authority builders, which is a bonus. I'm just going to list it as a bonus. Behind the scenes moments designed to humanize your brand and amplify credibility. It also creates some bit of hype as well, or they can do it afterwards as well. It's a good afterthought. And then a distribution strategy session with myself. So working out how we're going to get this out to the market, how we're going to strategize. Again, this is strategy meets creativity. So the first part would be creativity. Second thing is strategy. Okay. And a lot of this is built on strategy. Pillar 3 is the revenue engine. Now, for me, money is the big thing I want them to do. I will tell a humanizing story. I will put it from my heart. I will make sure it's cinematic and it's romantic and everything else. But it will have the most important elements of selling them. Okay. And a lot of that gets broken down into awareness, consideration, and conversion. Okay, so the first thing is pillar 3, which is revenue engine, 90-day paid media management. I'm going to give them a 90-day sprint on paid media. Okay, I'm going to give a strategy, targeting, campaign build, and ongoing optimization. And then I'm also going to give them high converting ad creatives designed to deploy inside the funnel, test and refine weekly. I'm going to re-edit and redeploy cycle top performing content repackaged to maximize. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them around 6 ads per month for 90 days. So 666 is 18, I think. And then I'm also going to re-edit some of their high-performing clips that we give to them of the offcuts for their social media. So if the social media clip goes up and they put it on YouTube and it blows up, I'm going to turn it into an ad. I'm going to re-edit it, and then I'm going to make it into an ad. And that's it. This is it. It's again, the impact creates an omnipresence, so your market sees you everywhere, assumes authority. The impact, a proven engine that generates leads, clients, and cash flow predictably. Again, this is all to increase the status, speed up the sales cycle, create more money, and reduce their risk of their up and down, and reduce their risk of being a commodity. This is a fairly well built out thing. Now, there'll be things that will change a bit, but this is a fairly tight package. Now, for those of you in different niches, you should take some of these ideas and start putting them into how do you bundle that? And tomorrow, that's what we're going to talk about. How do we package this up? How do we deliver it? How do we price it? How do we get it in our minds, how valuable this stuff is? Okay, so now I'm just going to go back to, so without the system, your speakers and coaches are stuck in the project grind and easily commoditized, lacking differentiation from their competitors. Okay, with this system, you become the only credible authority, charge more and working less. Okay, you can do one of these, 2 of these a month, 50K, you're at 100 grand. It's very easy. Okay, so we make this happening through strategy and story finding session, extract your positioning and storytelling. We produce production sprint, capture your authority, proof assets in one shoot, so they're not having to do it a lot. They can actually use these for several months. System deployment, roll out the omnipresent content ad engine over 90 days, and then we're going to optimize, re-edit the things that are working, the top performers, redeploy, and then scale what works. Okay. So the real investment ROI, with this package, my prospects aren't just buying videos, they're buying pricing power, charging 2 to 4x's, time of freedom, systemized 90-day rollout, status elevation, become the premium choice, and consist demand lead on autopilot. Cool. All right. This is not not a video package. This is I'm gonna kill my team for this. It is I would say a story growth system or a visual story system, growth system, because you need to add that part into it. I think it's important. A lot of you guys in film will want that. So again, it's more money, more status, more time, less risk. This is what we've got to focus on, guys. This is what will make them do the transfer to your account, because and once you know that that's true, that you can do. Think about what you want in life. You want more money, you want more status, you want more time back, more freedom, and you want less risk. Right? You guys watching having these roller coaster months, you want less of that. That's risk to you and your family. Okay? So in the next video, day 4, I'm going to show you how to take this offer and package it into clear tiers. So I may do 3, I may do 1, I don't know. I'm deciding, I'll think about tonight about how I want to position this to make it really, really good. Because I'll be getting out into the market very soon. I want to start selling this. And how to price it at between 20 and 50K so your clients can see it as an obvious investment. I want you to subscribe, guys. If you're watching this far and you've got right through to here, please subscribe to the channel. And comment down. Some of you are commenting, and I am noticing it. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, subscribe, put the bell on. I'm really doing this for one family, one person that's constantly got the camera on his back. He's working late. He's coming home. He's to take care of his family. He's got Andrew Tate in his fucking ear telling him that he's got to be more of a man. I'm trying to help all that pressure on that one person. I just visualize it in my mind. I went through hell and back trying to build this shit out. I'm trying to give some good karma out in terms of hopefully that, some of you will want more of my help and you want to join the program. I'm sure the links are down below if you want to see what joining the program looks like, or at least getting on a call and having a chat with me to see what that looks like in terms of cost and price and everything else in between. Because that program is fucking phenomenal. Absolutely fucking phenomenal. I think we're the best in the business that doing it. I don't think anyone's even fucking coming close to what we're doing. And so, but this series is dedicated to that person that I just talked about before. It's that one person is struggling, okay? I need to get him out of that commodity trap and get him into the food chain of high-value storytellers so that big brands with deep pockets are going to invest in you, but also in return, you're going to give them the value by doing this work. Don't skip over this and just copy my offer and then just go out, because it's not going to be inside your soul. You're not coming from a place of knowingness if you don't do your research. That's why half of you fuck this niching thing up, because you're not putting your soul into it. You're a pretender. You're a fake. You're a phony. You're pretending to niche. You're not being the real deal, okay? Be the real deal. Be truthful to yourself. Do the work. Go deep. Go vertical. Go into it. Explore it in every aspect. Understand what you're doing in there. And you will dominate, not just locally, but internationally. So on that note, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.